When I stepped into Taekwondo, I really felt the family vibe. I really liked the disciplines that we did, like breaking boards. That was my favourite. I loved it. Each training, it made me stronger. I just loved everything about it. We have to call our instructor master if they are master or sir. We can't just say their names at all. We have to say sir or master.
Janae Whakarau started Taekwondo at 9 years old and by 16 was the world's #1 power breaker.
It feels so cool. It feels really cool. Like world champs in Germany, when I realised I won the gold, it's indescribable, really. It was so nice. And going up that podium with my flag around me and then putting the medal around my neck, it just felt really cool. And then hearing the national anthem go on, it was really cool.
The black belt was at the pinnacle of her fighting career, bringing home 2 gold medals from the World Championships in Germany last year, adding to her already impressive collection. Taekwondo was a family affair. Her 6 sisters and their mum, Corrina, had all been part of the Shannon Taekwondo Club over the last decade.
Having girls, so many girls, for me it was a requirement to get them into self-defence, learn to keep themselves safe. So we decided that Taekwondo was the place to go.
And they'd all been students of this man, Taekwondo master Andrew Salton, a veteran of the martial art and an internationally renowned trainer who'd reached one of the highest levels, 7th Dan, just 2 belts under the most esteemed position of Grandmaster.
He was like a second father. He was always supportive. He always helped me with things I needed to improve. To me, he was a good guy. Like, I didn't think any bad of him at all. No one did.
The married father of 2 was welcomed into the large and loving Whakarau whānau.
You know, we invited him to our home. He even came along to one of our girls' 21st. Wedding, yeah, he was...
Went out to dinner.
He was part of the whānau.
And once he was in, he worked to gain more access to Janae, who would ultimately become his victim.
We couldn't afford to go on tournaments and things like that with all of us. So he would go, well, I've got to go because I'm their instructor. So he goes, they can come with me.
But the dedication to his star student was just a ruse. Behind closed doors, Salton's private lessons with Janae were taking a sinister turn.
I think it started when I was 13, and I said to him, oh, why do we need to do massaging for? And then that's when he said, because you'll seize up if we don't massage you. You need to recover. And I was young, so I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's fine. Didn't think anything, of it.
Did it feel a bit weird?
It did. He started massaging on the legs and just the calf area. And I saw him, what he was doing, so I was like, okay, this is fine.
And you trusted him?
Yeah, I did. I put my full trust in him. My family put my full trust in him. Everybody did.
The unwanted massages became increasingly intrusive.
He always pulled down my shorts very low, and he always rubbed down the pubic area. And I said to him, why do you need to rub down the pubic area? And he was like, because it is connected to your hips. Like all these medical procedures that didn't make any sense to me, but because I was young, it just went out of my mind and was like, okay, yep, sweet.
And you let it go?
Yeah, and I let it go. I felt uncomfortable, but I just had to, think that it's fine. He knows what he's doing. Every time when Mum picked me up, he will run over to Mum and then he will say, I massage Janae's calves. And Mum was like, okay, it's sweet. But, and I just looking at Mum and I'm just like, yeah, but that's not what he did. He didn't just massage my calves. He did other things. But I didn't tell Mum that.
Unable to speak up, Janae used extra clothing to try to protect herself.
I started covering up more, started wearing skins and started wearing hoodies. When my mum was confused, because I was wearing them in the summer, and she was really confused, why are you wearing that for? And my excuse was to lose weight. That's why.
There's real vivid memories of her not wanting to go to trainings. And I always remember her fighting and always being sick, always having stomach upsets, vomiting, headaches constantly. But at the time, she's a teenager, she's 13 years old, she's going through that rebellious stage, she's become lazy, and that's what we put it down to.
But unbeknown to her parents, Salton's abuse was escalating, even forcing Janae to fend off simulated rape scenarios.
We always did self-defence because in grading we have to practice our self-defence. So he always wanted to do ground stuff with me. And what he did was he was always on top of me and he was like, right, you have 30 seconds to get up as fast as you can. And then he was like, okay, go. And I was trying so hard because I felt uncomfortable. I had a man on top of me. He was like, all of his weight was on top of me. I couldn't breathe. I was hyperventilating. I wanted to cry, but I couldn't. So I was just like, okay, no, Janae, you just gotta stop crying. You need to get up really fast. I was trying so hard to get out. And then as we were doing it, he just kept making these noises, like grunting. He kept making thrusts on me. And I'm just like, what is he doing? And like I was shaking and I was getting so scared. And as soon as I got up, that's when he had that situation with himself and he had an incident. And then in my head, because I was young, I had to pretend. When he had the incident, I had to pretend. I didn't know what that was. Sorry.
It's all right.
What she means by incident is that Salton had an erection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to pretend. I just told him, I don't know what that is, it's fine. But what he did is, he just looked at me. He had like a little smile. And then he pulled down his shorts and he exposed himself. And then I didn't know what I had to do. I was frozen. I didn't know if I was like to myself, should I run away or should I just stay there? And then in my head, I'm like, in my head, it was just telling me, no, you need to stay. Don't run away. So I stayed there. And then when he pulled down his pants, I'm just, I quickly turned away because I didn't want to see it. So I turned away from him. And then he was like, oh, I'm so sorry, Janae. And I'm like, just pull your pants back up, please. And then he wanted to give me a hug afterwards to, say how sorry he was. And I didn't want a hug from him. And that day when he did it, he had to take me home because Mum was out, so she can come pick me up. So we were driving home, and then as soon as he dropped me off, he said to me, don't tell anyone about this or me and you will be in the shit. And because he put that thought in my head, that's why I didn't tell my family.
Janae's mother, Corrina, began to notice a change in Salton's behaviour towards her daughter.
When we got back from World Champs and his behaviour was so erratic, and in fact it was erratic at World Champs, and people had actually said to me, is Master Salton okay? What's going on? I went, I have no idea.
And they kept saying, why is he picking on you? Why is he bullying you? And I'm like, I don't know why. I knew why, but I'm just like, I don't know why.
Finally, after months of abuse, Janae reached her breaking point.
Do you remember telling your mum when you'd had enough?
Yeah, it was one night at training. He was, again, picking on me, bullying me. He was yelling at me in front of the whole class. We were driving home, and then Mum was just like, I think you need to go up to him, give him a hug and say how sorry you are and say that you're sorry. And I looked at her and then I'm just like, Mum, stop the car. And I know it sounds weird, but I felt something touch me. And I think it was my ancestors, my tupuna, And I just heard a voice saying, it's time to let go, it's time to say it.
After the break, a whānau left reeling.
I just felt this wave of anger and sadness, and how was I not able to protect my little sister?
And International Taekwondo New Zealand responds.
We're learning from this. This is something that we were shocked about to have happened.
Well, this is like a whole corner of your room. How many medals do you reckon there are?
I actually counted them. I think there's 94 medals in total.
Wow.
But yeah. Most of them are gold.
Yeah, they sure are.
Yeah.
And some really big trophies. What's your favourite?
The Māori trophy, yeah, it's my favourite one.
For Junior Māori Champ?
Yeah.
Yeah, last year.
Yeah.
Mean.
Janae Whakarau is a Taekwondo champion, but she gave up the sport after being abused by her instructor, Andrew Salton. Janae's older sister, Kaysha, a trained social worker with Oranga Tamariki, says it's unbelievable how Salton convinced them all.
I just felt this wave of anger and sadness, and how was I not able to protect my little sister? She had been abused by a man that we trusted, abused by a man that we loved and cared for as an extended whānau member, and for him to do that and break our trust, I was just in disbelief. But the reality was he formed a relationship of trust, and he built on that to a point where we accepted him for who he was. And then that's when those behaviours started. So of course we're not going to think, actually, you're a creep now, because the reality is we had already formed that close bond with him. So yeah, despite my experience as a professional, it still happens, and that's something that I find that I do struggle with from time to time. How did I not see that, and how did I not protect my little sister?
Salton first appeared in court in 2018, but it would be 2 years before his identity could be made public, finally losing an appeal for name suppression in June this year. During that time, Janae endured threats and attacks by his family and total denial by her abuser.
Mr. Salton has never admitted his offending. How does that make you feel?
He's a piece of trash, what he's done. He's overstepped the line, and, back in the day, we might have done things a little bit differently. But as we know, we've got to let the law, take its path, and let justice do its thing.
What was the court case like for you guys?
Oh, God.
Yeah.
The hardest thing about the court case was not being able to be in the courtroom when Janae gave her testimony, because she was a minor and her own parents couldn't even be there. I think for Janae, though, it was a bit of saving grace for her, because I don't think she wanted us. I know that she hasn't told me everything about what happened, and she did say, "Mum, I don't want you to hear everything." The only question I've ever asked Janae is, "Why didn't she tell me sooner?" And she said, "Because I didn't think you'd believe me," because of his position. I mean, he was a master.
Mr. Salton was found guilty and sentenced to 1 year home detention. But for the Whakarau whānau, it's not over. Not only are they dealing with Salton's betrayal and abuse, they also feel abandoned by the sport they'd invested so much in.
I suppose one little thing I'm disappointed with is the Taekwondo Federation of New Zealand and the non-support that we've had from any members. No one's even contacted us or got in touch with us or anything like that.
They did briefly send a message through the New Zealand team manager to say all the best.
What do you think that Janae deserves from the Taekwondo Federation?
Oh, definitely an apology. Definitely an apology of some sort. Support would be great. There's been no support from any one of them from that community, especially the hierarchy. So it's just disappointing, because how many years have we been involved in it, or our kids have been involved in it, spending money to go away to local tournaments, national tournaments, and basically supporting Taekwondo for the last 7, 8, 9 years.
International Taekwondo New Zealand, which represents 3,000 members, has since introduced a child protection policy.
We're developing a program where it will be a requirement for our instructors and assistant instructors and people of influence to basically conduct an online test, an online paper, go through the paper, make sure they understand the paper, answer a few questions to make sure that they've understood that, and that'll be done on a yearly basis, on an annual basis.
So I guess, Nick, what have you done to publicly condemn him on your website?
I don't think we've actually done a lot, and that's, hindsight is something that we've that we've thought about.
Would it have made sense that when the name suppression lifted, that you then publicly let your members know?
I think you're absolutely right.
Board Chair Nick Laurantos says the organisation was told by police not to make contact with Janae and her whānau.
But I do want to take the opportunity to, to apologise to the family. I do also want to reach out to our members if there is anyone else that has been impacted by this, just because they haven't reached out to us as yet. It's never too late. I do urge them to contact police. They're the right people to handle these things. If they don't feel comfortable doing that, please reach out to a senior member of our organisation, our executive, our board, me. We will do what we can. Thank you.
For Janae, her dream of being a Taekwondo master is over. But the former world champ has never been stronger or more courageous.
Why do you want to share your story?
I want people to know who this man is. I just want people to know that you're not alone. You're brave. If you tell your parents and they don't listen, you keep telling them, you scream at them, you just keep telling them until they hear you.
What are you going to do with your life now?
I think it's just time for me to let go of Taekwondo and just move on with my life, become an advocate, and I'm hoping to get a job either in the Air Force or the police force.
You started when you were 9 and you would have been a white belt or just starting out. And even though you're kind of giving it up and you're not going to do it anymore, you must be proud of where you got to. Look at that.
Yeah.
And what does that mean, second dan?
Oh, it's amazing. Like a biggest accomplishment that I could have done. Even though I am stopping Taekwondo, I did finish off with a high note, so winning 2 gold medals at Germany. So that's what I'm proud that I finished off good. Yeah.
And you will always be second dan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always.